between tracks, between tracks, between tracks.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good, and you? Are you all right? I hear you had to run for it.
Yes, it's been a long one. Sorry, I'm so sorry. This has been. I've
No, it's
never in
cool.
my life had to fucking move an interview so many times.
No, it's
Um,
such a little shame. I don't want you to be stressed. It's all right. Where are you at the moment? You're in a hotel room.
no, I'm in the band room, green room in Birmingham NEC Arena.
Oh, cool. You guys playing there tonight?
Gorillaz are.
Are you joining them throughout the whole UK tour or just tonight?
Most of it. I've got father duties and idols duties that interrupt a couple shows here and there, but all good.
Oh, good. Great. You know what's really funny? Well, it's actually a bit like hocus pocus, but not last night, but the night before, I had this nightmare that I had overslept and completely missed our interview. And then, like,
Oh
the
wow.
night before going to bed, I was thinking about it and I was like, I wonder if it was the universe's way of trying to tell me that one of us was going to have some sort of a crisis of some sort. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, there's a lot of components that, mate. There's a lot of components that could go wrong in
yeah,
touring and
but
this
always,
mad industry. Mm,
always, every day.
yeah, yeah,
Well, before we start, I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on my show.
of
It
course.
really is a big honor. Apart from you being a great musician and a great performer and a great songwriter, I think something I've always really admired is just your openness as a human being. And also, you have, I don't want to say you have a skill, but you have, I think, a gift of being able to articulate yourself so gracefully, especially with some sort of difficult or taboo like topics. So,
Mm.
what I want to know is, have you always been like that since a kid? Like, were you always quite outspoken or were you quite?
Yeah, yeah, I have. I have always been outspoken. I think the difference is before, I'm a middle class kid. I was a middle class kid, so I came up in a comfortable semi-detached house in Devon,
Mm-hmm.
and everything was hunky dory. I mean, I didn't go to private school or anything like that. And like most of my mates were working class, but I didn't come up through trauma ever.
Yeah.
And like, I was by no means posh, but I was definitely privileged. And like, I was always, I think, naive in a romantic
Mm-hmm.
way towards people. I always wanted to see the best in everyone, and I
Mm-hmm.
always wanted to connect, and um, I always wanted to feel part of a community of people, and my way of doing that was always to connect people and to feel loved and to make people feel loved and make
Yeah.
people feel like they're the best version of themselves. And obviously my mum got really ill when I was 12, and then she had a major stroke when I was 16, so she became disabled. And then I went to uni and my stepdad died, so then I became my mum's carer. And these are all like big traumas. And really before that, I never really experienced anything like that.
Yeah.
So after that, after the age of 16, my life completely transformed into something much different. And I had to learn a lot of things very quickly in order to survive, I think.
Yeah.
Because I also discovered drugs and alcohol. Well, I didn't discover alcohol. I discovered alcohol when I was like 11. Drugs was a very, very impactful discovery. So I'd become an adult very quickly, become a carer very quickly. And
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for that. So it took me a long time to figure all that out. So it's a very kind of strange and very mountainous arc in my life,
Yeah.
things now are very comfortable again. And but the difference is I have perspective, both emotional and logistical, so you call it, perspective, and also gratitude. You know,
Yeah.
I've been in a lot of trouble with the law and with emotional turmoil, and I'm just very grateful that I have this wonderful support network of people I love and trust that come up with me, and also an audience that love the band, that have helped build something stunning and much bigger than ourselves. And I get to make music and travel the world. Like, that's my job.
Best job in the world, no?
But you'd think it would be easy to be grateful for that. But there's a lot of people in our industry, I don't think they realize how lucky they are. It's also not for everyone. And I think because it's the glory of it is very enticing. There's a lot of people involved in our industry that want to hold on to that, but aren't willing to put the graft in, the hard work. And it's, and also it's not for everyone in terms of touring, mental health, balance, not being at home, traveling is a gift, but it's also not a holiday.
No.
Very taxing. There's a lot, very taxing, but also, but not very taxing. I think like when you find a way of doing it healthily, or you find it with gratitude, it's not taxing at all. I mean, it is on the body. Like 2-hour shows, 100 times a year is a lot, but that's also a job. You just got to figure out how to do it well. Rest is best and all that jazz.
I think you've sort of figured out over the years how to do it a little bit, not a little bit better, but in a healthier way, I guess? Or is it just a continuous learning curve?
It's definitely a continuous learning curve for different reasons. You could go to the same, venue a year apart and it's still a different time, I'd say you have to treat it as one big fluid experience, but routine is key. I've definitely learned to do it more productively, better, in terms of what to do on your days off. Where, it is, I haven't been touring all my life, so you are constantly learning.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like
on your days off. Do you like to be like alone? Do you like to have your personal space? Because I do. I feel
I'm 50-50 really in terms of introvert, extrovert. I have to be on my own to process things and be creative in certain ways, but then I have to be able to express myself and share the experiences of other people. I don't think being on my own is good when it comes to the good things. I like to share it. I love to share music. I love to share making music. Those sorts of experiences, but afterwards or through trauma or just after good experiences, I think it's good for me to process things on my own, and I have to have that time. So it's probably 50-50. But like I've just learned days off. Sometimes I like exercise in the morning was always good. I don't like to be on my own though. Not really. Because I do like to be on my own, but in new environments and places I don't know, I think it's good for me to be
with other people.
Yeah, and kind of experience and do fun things. Go on bike rides. We've got some bikes on the tour bus.
Nice.
Always food orientated. We're always looking for good food. But not do too much on your days off.
No, not too much before the show. Get to the venue or even.
I mean, like on days off. I mean, it's not. I just try not to do too much because you're supposed to be resting.
Yeah. I want to ask you, like, I think it was last week that I saw you guys post. Someone's sneezing there. God. Give me a fright.
Yeah, well, we're on tour.
Inside.
Is it? They're day 2 and everyone's got the cold's already spreading like wildfire. And don't apologise. No, we're all kind of tour sniffles.
I think it was a video from Primavera last year where the crowd was all like chanting back to you. And I know that one of the good things about being an artist and having a community and fans is that usually you guys are like-minded and you have the same morals and the same values. But how is that experience when you're standing in front of like thousands of people and they are chanting something like that back to you that holds such big significance? Do you have like an out-of-body experience, or are you sort of like getting used to it?
I mean, it's a different thing. If they were responding like they did at Primavera to, it was a very emotional response from me. It's not out of body when it's political.
Yeah.
I come at a lot of political decisions based on my moral set, which is based on how I was brought up and how I see the world and how I care for people and how I live as a father and a friend and loyalty and empathy. So for me, I come up with empathy. Why the fuck would I ever believe in an occupying country? Well, like, just as a father, I'm going to teach what I believe in as from socialists. Why would I think that you just turn up with someone's doorstep and take their home because of an agreement made in a foreign country? It's bullshit. And I mean that with the British occupations and the Dutch occupations, the French occupations, and the Israeli occupation. So when I came at that crowd, as I do every show, there's an intensity to the Spanish, both in Spain and the South Americas, that make them a very special crowd. And there's a sense of melting and becoming one. And it's not often I care about being heard in terms of my politics. Yeah. I'm just there to spread the love. And my politics is rooted and fueled by caring and loving the people around me and having an empathy for people I've never met because of what I believe is true. So when I was in Primavera, I don't think the video picks it up, but I started crying at the end just because it was just a very potent feeling to know that there are lots of people out there that also believe the same as what you believe to be true. Yeah. And it's quite a scary time, and it's a very sad time. I think there's a lot of fear mongering, etc., and a lot of apathy now, and a lot of anger, etc. So to just feel like some people are like, yeah, no, we also believe that to be true. Yeah. It just feels like you're heard, because the internet is a very fucking toxic place sometimes, especially with the politics that's around the UK and the US right now. Especially now. It's like majority of the stuff we see is just negative. And it's yeah, because there's been a lot of changes that are actually fueling a chaos. Not a seeming chaos, but a real chaos. And that's terrifying. Yeah. So anyway, it was a beautiful feeling. But I don't get out of body with that. It's a very insular and emotional reaction. When it comes to music, I think when I'm in my flow state, it's out of body. But a political response, when you truly feel like you're in a room full of people that believe your truth, I think, or our truth, I think it's empowering. I think our audiences are empowering. But I don't have a question of whether people believe in our music because I'm not there to ask. I believe in our music and I love it. Politics is a very, what's the word? Very different thing. And I'm not a politician. But sometimes as a human being and a father and a friend, it's just quite nice to know that some of you are marching in the same direction, I guess.
Of course. It's a good way to put it. It's almost like the opposite of an outer body. It's an inner body experience because you're like connecting directly with the entire crowd emotionally, right? When something like that happens.
And that's the whole reason why I started the band, was because I wanted to feel like I was part of something much bigger than myself.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, make a connection to the universe, and then you feel connected. You can't wait to be heard. You can just hear yourself. And as soon as you start expressing yourself and making things that are beautiful, you see yourself in it, you change and you learn. And that is being heard. If you can't hear yourself, no one else is going to hear you.
No, not at all.
So I've just been spending the last, 15 years trying to learn how to speak my own language. At first to survive, but now it's to flourish.
I think I've also always felt like that, like from small. Obviously, I'm not a performing artist, but I've always been obsessed with like trying to find a community of people that understand me or that I gel with. And I don't know if this has got something to do with always feeling like a little bit strange, like the outsider as a kid. I used to be very much in like my own head growing up, just like kind of in the corner, daydreaming, thinking about, I don't know what, stories and things. So I think that's probably one of the things I love the most when it comes to like working in the industry as a manager and stuff, is just feeling like I've also sort of found my people in a sense, having that form of community. Because without community, you're nothing, right? We're just sort of floating around. At least that's how I feel.
I wouldn't even know how to. I wouldn't know how to see myself without a people. I don't think life would be worthwhile.
No, I don't think so either.
But I mean, it's just not. You know, I've always been a very loving person. I think to love is to be loved, and like I'm learning as I get older that my naivety is a strength, not a weakness. And wanting to connect and wanting to see the best in people helps me be better.
I was going to say, see the best in people is a good trait to have, despite what other people might say. And just giving people like the benefit of the doubt, right? But I think that comes with having empathy as well. I think the two are maybe linked. Because if you can sort of put yourself in someone else's shoes and understand maybe why they reacted the way they did towards something, sort of makes it a little easier. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, empathy is a very, very useful tool. I think with empathy and instinct, between the two, you can pick your friends easily.
Yeah.
You know, I think I'm 41 now, and I've got my red flags. I know what to look for. And just because I'm naive and I'm full of love doesn't mean that I don't pick out the cunts. I see a cunt when I see one.
Quickly.
Yeah. I've been through it, and I know what people are like, but that doesn't mean that I don't have a lot of forgiveness in my heart. I've got friends that I've stood by.
Yeah.
You know, I won't name names because it's like, I'm not here to do that. But certain friends who have like tested.
Yeah.
And some, you know, sometimes that empathy is about going, Joe, I'm going to leave you alone. You're being a prick. I'm going to give you some time, and in a few months, I'll give you a call and see how you're doing. But right now, I haven't got the energy in it to put up with your bullshit. But I love you. I'll see you soon. You know, but that's still love. That's still love. Yeah. And you know, there's being an empath or being empathetic, and then there's, you know, remembering you got to look after yourself. And sometimes that means distancing yourself from these people, in order to not knock them out or knock yourself out.
100%. How do you sort of deal with people that have sort of leached onto you? Well, I mean, you said that you are great at spotting red flags in people, but
Yeah.
when your like career sort of took off, how do you deal with people like that in the industry?
I think, you know,
Singer honors, or what would you call them? Singer honors?
You call them leeches. I think the best way to avoid leeches in this industry is just to not get in the fucking pond.
Mm-hmm.
You choose to be a celebrity. You can be famous and not be. I've chosen to be famous, as in like semi-famous, not very that famous.
Yeah.
I've chosen that because I picked an art form that I then put out into the public sphere to be able to quit my job as a carer for adults with learning difficulties. I had to sell records, which means becoming known.
Yeah.
I'd be ignorant if I didn't understand that. I've chosen to be semi-famous, but I've also chosen to not be a celebrity at all. I will not be a celebrity. So jump in the pond. There are no leeches.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people I've met along the way definitely treat me better because I'm in IDLES. And I get that.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like, I've made something that is out there in the public sphere. They know the kind of person I am because I stand by my morals. You ask any of my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, me on stage is a very animated version of who I am, or one part of me.
Yeah.
And my friends are like, yeah, that's the real guy. That's him. He's just not like that all the time. He's not animated like that.
It's like an
So it's
amplified version.
Yeah, but absolutely, I've stood by who I am. And I think my friends from childhood would say that's who he was and that's who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll stand by that.
Yeah.
There are, you know, I get treatments better sometimes. And, you know, you could tell the people that are,
Sincere.
you know, interested in me because of who I am. But you know what? Like, once we get to know each other, like, you can't pretend that's not a thing. But they're not just there to take things from me. They're just more interested in me because they like my art music or they see me on the TV, whatever. But like, you know, is it that different to someone being attracted to you on Tinder or whatever just because you're good looking? It's like, well, would you, if I had a scarred up face or I was ugly to you, would you still talk to me in the same way?
Yeah. Same.
You have to get
thing,
past
really.
it. You have to get a past this, or it's similar, not the same. I don't want to say that it's like being, but like my point is that there is always pretense. You are made up of a bunch of prejudices. I'm made up of a bunch of prejudices. When we meet each other, we have a somewhat transactional thing going on, and we also have a very much a human thing going on. Once the transactional thing kind of fizzles out and you get over your pretentious side, you kind of open up to each other and you become friends. And like, I get that some people are more interested in me because I'm semi-famous, fucking gap tooth, shouty guy from IDLES. I don't give a shit because like the other thing about dealing with leeches is you just don't deal with them. Don't deal with them. Just if no red flags are coming up, and they're just being a bit like, like I'm seemingly funnier than, you know, I'm not that funny, but like, what are you going to do? I just think just don't deal with it. As long as they're not a prick.
Mm-hmm.
Also, every now and again, I don't mind a free beer. What's wrong with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, of course.
But like all my friends, you know, they're people I've known for a long time and trust and love. And I met new people on the way. And, you know, like, I don't know, I'm working with Damon Albarn. Like, I look up to him and he knows that. He senses when people are like, shut the fuck up when he talks. But for me, that's about the fact that I've known him since I was a kid as a very enigmatic human being. And now as a musician and a colleague, I guess you'd call it, I still look up to him and I still absolutely am baffled at how brilliant his art is. And he's one of the most important pop writers of our generation. So, I'm still going to shut the fuck up when he talks. I listen more because I still, one day, I consider him a friend now, but one day that my pretenses will be smaller and smaller, but I'm always going to admire and look up to him. That's just the way dynamic works. Like but but I think my life is way too short. I haven't got that much time left on this planet, so I'm just not going to worry about all the pretensions, the pretensions of things. I think I'm just like, I don't know. I don't want to think about my status too much, because I think it's kind of like trying to understand the infrastructure of things or the mechanics of things so much that you don't enjoy it anymore.
Yeah.
And like, I'm really lucky. I'm not that big, but I'm big enough that I can live off my art.
What would you say is like the best thing about touring, besides obviously performing and having a community and being able to connect with people every night?
I was in New York 2 days ago with our monitor engineer. He used to be our tour manager. He's now I'm now in a band with him, and he's mixing a record I'm doing, and he produced and mixed another record I did last year. So he's like a very close friend of mine. And we were just joking about like, you know, you don't reminisce about shows. You're not like, oh, I remember that time where we sang that song really well. You think you talk about like driving through Kansas and listening to the entire Radiohead catalog, to see how it would be going through one of the flattest, worst, most boring drives in the world, listening to a band seemingly depressive, knowing that we loved them as a band, and how that would work. Like, I will always remember that. Or like listening back to back to, what was it? It was Blonde by Frank Ocean, and then straight after it, what did we listen to? But we were talking about it, and it was like so fucking, what was the, I'll have to ask him. He's way better at this stuff than I. But like, you know, we put these two albums back to back whilst driving at night through the desert, and it was just like unreal. Things like that, you know. It's the connections you have with the other people. It's like, you know, it's beautiful.
It's like the day-to-day stuff, like almost like the mundane, like day-to-day things.
Whoa, it's actually the opposite. It's like the magic of the mundane. You do not get to sit. It's this thing where you do not get to sit with your best people in life and just be able to send like 2 albums, listening back to back to 2 albums, and talking about things in this like crazy Mars-like landscape in Nevada, or you know, the Salt Flats, and you're just driving, being with these people. So it's like,
because you wouldn't do that at home. Like, you wouldn't have the time to do that at home, or people's lives are like so busy.
No, even on holidays, you know, because there's a sense of it not being a holiday. You're traveling through, but you've also got a job to do. There's a camaraderie there. It's just different. It's different. I miss my brothers and sisters so much when I'm not on tour with them. I seek normality. I love being at home with my girlfriend and my daughter, and my friends have gone on bike rides and shit like that. But touring is just a very beautiful gift that shouldn't be forever. But while it is there, it's magic.
For sure, yeah. I wanted to actually start this podcast on touring and talking a lot about touring, because I find it quite difficult to explain the sort of feelings and the logistics and just the whole sort of highs and lows emotionally that you get whilst you're on tour, especially trying to explain this to like people that aren't in the industry or have never done it before, you know. And after talking to so many people, whether it's the artists performing or sound people or production, it's beautiful to hear that we all have like the same thoughts and feelings, I think, while we're on tour. It's just like 2 complete like highs and lows. And I think that's something that I really actually love about touring. I always say that it's like this, I don't know if it's a really positive thing or a really toxic thing for me. And I know it's different because I'm into more of the logistical stuff, the management stuff. So there's a lot of like stress that comes with that, you know, from the minute you open your eyes to the minute you fucking close your eyes. Because, you know, like something goes wrong every bloody day. But it is good to hear that I think we all just feel the same, you know. We're all just like navigating one day by one day throughout the journey.
Yeah, I think so. I think people that thrive, or at least people that can survive touring, are the same.
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of people who cannot do it, or don't last very long, who are not feeling the same as us. But it's that thing of like appreciation and gratitude. Like, you know, the 5 members of IDLES do not do anywhere near as much work as the crew. And then on the top of that chain, you have a fucking tour manager who gets 4 hours sleep, and is dealing with herding cats and an industry that's fucking insane, and a very tight schedule where people's lives are at risk. You know, people don't think about that sort of thing. The
Yeah.
rigging that could kill
Yeah.
people, the crowd control, security, communicating between security and band. It's all fair and well me spouting love, peace and love on a microphone. I could turn that crowd into a fucking mob in seconds.
I don't doubt that.
And then you've got what on our tour? It's not a big tour. You know, I'm on a Gorillaz tour now. It's like 150 people. That's 150 people, all with separate wants and needs, all with mental health spectrums.
Yeah.
And they've all got to try and sustain a sense of balance. So I think what it is that when you get to a point of gratitude where you realize how important everyone is on it, but also how lucky we are to do it, find balance between that fortune and fortitude. And I think that's when you start going, like, this is fucking sick, but you got to put the work in.
Do you have sort of day-to-day rituals that you do, like coping mechanisms that sort of help keep you sane whilst on the road?
I think you just got to listen to yourself all the time. You know, if you're tired, take a rest. If you feel lonely, try and talk to someone, or talk to someone. You don't have to try, just talk. Yeah, just finding balance. I think for me, it's like giving myself a structure, finding things to do that are healthy.
I think for me, what helps is actually sometimes like calling someone that's not on tour with me, just to speak about something that has absolutely nothing to do with the touring or the music. Even if it's for like 5 minutes. Because I feel like you obviously know this because you've toured extensively. Sometimes whilst you're on tour, it almost becomes like a distorted reality, right?
I'm really good at that. Like I'm a very short-sighted person. So like I don't like I've never been homesick. I don't miss people. I'm like, this is my job. I know what I'm doing.
This
I'm
is
here.
what I'm doing. Yeah.
I'm like, even sometimes if I don't leave the venue, I'm not even like, I'm in Birmingham today. Right now I'm at the NEC. But I don't really like, I'm not like, oh, you know, if I'm in London, I'm not like, oh, I've got loads of friends I could see. Like, I'm just not like that. I'm just quite like, so I always have a sense of like, like this is home for now is fine. The reality thing, I think, is just like, it sometimes feels like it's a simulation because it's too good.
Yes.
I've got a few factors in life to bring me down to earth pretty quickly, but we won't talk about them. But there is a sharper side to this sword, and there's no sense of that changing anytime soon. So I do have a certain amount of balance where I know this ain't the fuck to me. Or maybe it is. There's this like philosophical paradox that even a simulation would have a hard side, because if it was too good, you just realize it's a simulation.
Yeah, exactly.
But the reality is just like, this is my reality, but this isn't everyone's reality. But that's part of the gratitude. I'm like, this is crazy how sick my life is. It's crazy.
I've seen you like do an interview before where you were talking about how you have friends at home that would literally like saw off their like right hand to be in the position to just be able to tour and make money off creating art, you know? Because especially in music, it's such a difficult time. I mean, I think it's always been hard in music. Like, I think musicians have always had it hard. Like, even if you look 20, 30, 40 years ago, it's just different challenges, like, as the years go by, right? New challenges, if you may.
Working class musicians are never going to have it easy. I don't care what changes in the economy happen, but it's always going to be hard for working class. And like, I don't know, I'd love it to change.
I don't even know how it would change. Not to sound like negative, but to sound like
socialist government that support artists, people that believe in subsidizing for the arts. But obviously, Labour government and now a right-wing centralised government that are just as fascist as Tories in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So there's no chance of things changing anytime soon. But yes, I think it's harder at the moment for working class musicians. You have the silly cunts have left the European Union, which means that now there's not as much support. It's more expensive to tour Europe. It wasn't possible at one point, but I think they've kind of there's more ways of getting musicians through not without spending loads of money on visas. I can't remember.
Yeah. It almost becomes non-sustainable if you're independent, because I know I toured with 2 unsigned bands the year before, last year and the year before, and it's ridiculously expensive. It almost makes it quite difficult, like, to weigh up, like, what do you do? Do you either not tour and not? I don't know. There's like a risk in both, you know. It makes
spending
it really,
taxes
really
on fucking up and coming artists and hospitals and schools instead of killing brown children. It's probably the way I'd go. It's impossible. It's not a non-sustainable thing for working class kiddies trying to make music. There's no support. There's no money being paid to them unless there's a jump up that's insane. I remember starting getting paid like tenfold. I was like, where's the gap? What's the gap in between for? Just pay me a little bit less across the board on my level and pay bands that are starting out a bit more money so they can fucking do it.
Survive. Yeah, or not even, just get by a little.
Get by a little.
Just get by
they're
a
still
little,
going to have to
minimum.
work. But like, I was working 70 hours and in between practicing and stuff. And it was beautiful. Tough. And we're lucky. We're one of the very lucky few ones. But at the time, I just could not believe that my friends could tour Europe. I'm like, man, I wish I could just get in a van and drive around Europe. Drive around the UK even. Like, we haven't even started the UK yet. I probably was just like, I remember the Europe thing. I was like, oh my God, I can't. I hope one day I'll be able to just tour Europe once.
Yeah. Little did you know. Or not little did you know, you knew. Probably always
I didn't
knew.
I didn't know.
No?
I knew that I was going to keep going.
Yeah.
I knew
you didn't
that
know the outcome,
stop.
but you knew you wanted to,
I found it wasn't the purpose was not for the being able to tour Europe. The purpose of me getting up every day is because I knew that I found something that gave me purpose, which was making music. So I just get out. I didn't give a fuck about anyone. I just wanted to make music. And that's still the way I feel now.
When did you first have that feeling, that like your aha moment that you wanted to do music? Was it from very young?
It was in Camden. No. I mean, I listened to music all the time. I was obsessed with music all my life, but I never thought about making it until I was like 24, 25, maybe 24. And we were watching this band at Camden Crawl Festival in London, and they were bored. They were on stage. They looked very cool, and they just looked bored. And I was like, let's get the fuck out of here and start a band. I'm sick of these London bands looking very cool, but very bored and making shit, boring music. It wasn't shit, actually. The music was cool. They had some good. I was chatting to Jenny Beth about this band the other day. We called each other up now and again and just stuff like catch ups. So I love her very much. And she also kind of watched that band and was like, shit, I need to do something more interesting. It was interesting. Yeah. We both had a reaction to this band. You probably never heard of it. I'm not going to name them because I'm not that guy. But it was, I could tell you off air. Mm-hmm. But they had some good songs, but fuck me, it was just like another cool London band that just looked like they didn't want to be there. I'm like, don't be there. There's some other guy down the road that's literally working, your mummy and daddy bought you that guitar. There's a guy down there who works 70-hour weeks in the kitchen or something, desperate just to get time in a practice room. Mm-hmm. Just fuck off. Stop taking up space, you fucking rats.
But this is a London and a LA thing, I think, because I've been to a few gigs in London and in Los Angeles where I was like in the room thinking the exact same thing. And it must be like that thing of like, why is that? Especially in London. Is it because of like privilege? Is it because it's too easy? Is it because there's too many? What is it?
I grew up with privilege. And obviously there was a point where I didn't have money. I had to work 70-hour weeks and that. But like, I grew up with privilege. I just never grew up with entitlement. Posh London kids and LA London kids. It's like you have everything, you have all culture at your fingertips. There's the best galleries in the world. I mean, LA hasn't got the best galleries in the world, but like there's no shortage of culture. And you also have loads of Nepo babies and rich kids there. You have rich kids everywhere, but I think when you've got everything, maybe that's it. It's an entitlement thing. It's like, well, I'm supposed to, of course I'm supposed to be up here on stage. He's like, no, you ain't.
Yeah. There's like no hunger for it. There's like no force. There's no drive. I don't know.
I don't get it. I don't know if it's a London LA thing, but I think that's maybe what that is about. I know entitled cunts in Bristol, Mm-hmm. They're everywhere. Fuck them. Maybe it's a jaded thing. It's like they've seen everything. There were also, as a contrast to that, there's a lot of fucking cool people in those cities. And like, I don't know. There's definitely, I grew up very envious of Londoners because I grew up in Exeter. Well, I grew up in Bristol and then Exeter. And there's not a lot of culture in Exeter at all. Mm-hmm. Which is, where a lot of narrow-mindedness comes from. And I was desperate to find culture, something that just sparked something new in me. And as soon as I got to Bristol, I saw loads of it. I seeked to find something different from a very young age. I was 10 years old. This is crazy. I discovered that I wanted to live a life of like the new languages, like cultural languages, arts, music. When I first heard an album called Lab Cabin California by The Far Side, and now Booty Brown from the Far Side is sat on the other side of the fucking hallway from me right now. I'm touring with that man.
Same. Yeah.
It's a very cool thing. But as soon as I heard The Far Side and I heard hip hop for the first time properly, it just injected this thing in me where I was just like, what is this sound? And it obviously wasn't my story. I was a middle-class white kid. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But there was an energy to it and a beauty and a violence. The artistic violence, not literal violence, that just was electric and beautiful. And I'm glad I found that from a young age, because when things did hit the fan and my life did go upside down and I was in hell, I had art and music to turn to, as well as drugs and all that naughty stuff. But yeah. So I don't know. I'm just very grateful.
Very grateful. Do you think, because you were saying like you grew up obviously in a place that was more closed-minded, do you think that experience is what sort of shaped a lot of the subjects that you sing about?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about, it's a battlefield of ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I live in a country that voted to leave the EU and voted for Boris Johnson and, is going towards Reform UK, which is a fascist government.
Mm-hmm.
Like openly fascist.
They don't
think
try to
that
hide it.
Labour aren't that fucking fascist. I think they are, in a lot of ways. And the decisions they made and women's rights and immigrants' rights and fucking everyone's rights that are not white
Mm-hmm.
and straight and Christian are fucked in some way. It's narrowing of rights. But we're going towards a brutal right. So, and that's not based on, I mean, there are fucking racists in London, but the people that are scared of immigrants, I've never fucking met one. Or if they have, it's like, oh, no, they're all right. But, it's these small towns. It's where I grew up. It's these small towns and these edges of things where they're not educated
Mm-hmm.
by actual culture or in the historical. I was talking about it this morning. Our history curriculum that ignores all the fucking things that we have done as a nation, the white Christian nation, who have murdered millions of people in the name of what was the Bible, but it was hidden underneath that was all the natural resources. All we wanted was natural resources from the spice trails. Before that, there was other things, and now it's crude oil.
Mm-hmm.
We've been evil cunts a very long time. And I think when you have an upbringing or an education that teaches you that, just because we won the war does not mean that we weren't the ones who invented the fucking gas chamber and were getaways and Jews in our own country. And we're fucking cunts, man. And I think once you're educated in that, you see the other side of things, it gives you a wider perspective, and then you're less likely to be ignorant when you meet people of other cultures. And I think those kind of small town, it's like they're just uneducated.
It's
and
also the fear of the unknown, right? They have
exactly.
exposure of it, so
they're ignorant to it. Yeah, but my point is that I come at it with love, sometimes with an anger, but I want to show that love. And I don't think everyone in Exeter is narrow-minded. I've just seen it more when I was there than where I lived afterwards, which was Bristol, and it's multicultural.
Yeah.
It's only up the road. It's baffling how different it is.
Yeah.
But you just got to come at it with love and education. Expose people to new cultures. Expose people to new cultures and new people and new stories. They're not going to be ignorant anymore. It's just the end of it.
But it's baffling to me as well with the internet that you have today. I mean, majority of us have, the internet at our fingertips, and it's so easy to educate yourself. It's so easy to find these things. But
no, because this is the problem. The window of perspective is the size of your phone or your laptop. There's a wide thing of information out there, but what people want is it to be squeezed in and bite-sizable, and that with the algorithmic control just means that people are shown what the oppressors want you to see, as opposed to going out there seeking. But if you're looking in this window, the communities and the education is out on the streets, it's not on your fucking phone. They will stop you from seeing the truth. And I'm talking about the people on my side, on the left. They're just as fucking oppressive as... It's bullshit.
Everywhere.
Don't get me wrong. I'd rather be oppressed by the left in terms of information and think I fuck the right and fuck the fascists and fuck the racist pricks that are taking over, and those fucking manosphere protein shake bitches that are fucking obsessed with their own body. Fuck them. But out on the street and out there, and you're connecting with people, and you're going to live shows, you're having conversations, you're going to different restaurants, whatever it is, going I don't know. When you're exposed to shit, you just just communicating and connecting. The internet is a cesspit.
Real life in communication,
That's all it is, yeah. getting out there and speaking to people. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, the internet's become very much a bottleneck. You know, we don't really get to decide what we see anymore. I don't trust anything of it. I don't, like, you know, that's what I mean. Like, I see things and I'm like, oh, wow. But I want to believe it because it's leftist. And then I'm like, but this might be a fucking lie too.
Or exaggeration.
Why am I even on here?
sorts.
Why am I even on here? Just fucking,
Yeah.
it's bullshit. I'm there like just scrolling through crap. Either side, it doesn't matter. I'm just fucking done with that shit. Sorry. I'm venting. But
we were talking about this the other day, like how insane like Instagram is, for example, because you'll be scrolling and you'll see like these heartwarming videos of people with like their children or their dogs or whatever. And then the next video is like the stuff you see in Palestine. And the next video is like just the most horrific, like injustices you could imagine. And we're just so sort of used to seeing this stuff. Like our brains don't even comprehend, I think, what it is we're looking at anymore. It's like, what is the word I'm looking for?
Desensitized?
Yeah, there we go. Desensitized.
Yeah, we are. But I think, you know, there's just waves. I think cultural waves where things go back towards something else. You know, I think the younger generations always started to like kind of get bored of this kind of viral thing.
Yeah.
Not saying that it's not huge, you know. It's not really my expertise, but I think it is a wave of it coming back, and people are looking more towards human connection again. Not more than the internet, but I think it will come back a bit, and I think there's hope. But that's really not my interest. I just want to go out there and connect with human beings.
Mm-hmm. So, would you say that? I mean, apart from like touring, connecting with human beings, which is, I would say, your maybe forte. What is the other best part about music that you enjoy the most?
Best part about music,
besides
making
performing,
it.
You enjoy the creative process.
Yeah, I don't know if making it's number one or performing it's number one, really.
Well, besides performing, second choice.
I just love making it. Yeah. I just love thinking about an idea and fleshing it out and hearing it. It's magic.
I think me too. I've worked as like a producer on some albums, and I think that is my favorite part, is when nobody else knows. I don't know, it feels like a guarded secret, right? Like only a few people know what it is you're doing. And there's something so special about that, because it's like your precious secret. Do you have that feeling as well, or not really?
No, I don't.
Started?
Nah.
Like it's like
I just
project, and no one can judge it yet. I think that's where it comes from. Like, whereas when you put it out in the world, then people can have their opinions and things.
Well, I mean, I think it's important. It's a conversation, isn't it? Unless you just keep it to yourself. I think you shouldn't be making it for someone else's wants and needs, or not needs. I think people's needs is for the new, but they don't realize that that's what they need. They want the comfortable thing. And then you push people's boundaries and you're like, this is way more fruitful and beautiful. But yeah, like, I don't know. I don't get the secret thing, but I mean, everyone's different. My thing is like just getting a really beautiful pocket and making music, you know, just a drum and bass relationship, get something going and then singing on it. I don't know. I just love music. I love all of it.
Would you say that making music for a movie, because you made the soundtrack for Caught Stealing, right? Would you say that experience is different from when you're making stuff for idols? Is it easier in a way that it's like more collaborative, or not really?
No, it's harder because you're making it for a client.
Okay.
And ask anyone in the creative industries, clients are the worst. Because they think they know what they want, but they don't know what they want. But I mean, don't get me wrong, Darren was easy and it was great and very fun and fruitful. I'm talking more about other industries where the clients are hell. But yeah, no, I was working towards something that not just for me, it was for a client and a film. And I'd love the perimeters to bounce off and the parameters of the film. It was great.
Can I ask you 2 more questions then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, firstly, what would you change in the music industry? And secondly, what would you tell little Joe?
What would I change in the music industry?
Yeah.
Financial distribution, fact. Just
Good
always.
answer.
I would turn it into a socialist network, as in the rights of the workers are paramount.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not the musicians. I'm talking about everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
No one needs record label execs. They're just cunts who take most of the money. Right. Don't get me wrong, they start it and there's labels that are great. Our record label are incredible. But, these umbrellas but yeah, that. And I would give my younger self a hug and tell them everything is going to be okay.
Beautiful. Good answer. Good answer. Another one I think I like is everything's going to be okay. And also, nothing is permanent. I think that was my answer. Nothing is permanent. Because you can see that both negative and positively, right?
Yeah. Well, that was one of my favorite bits of advice kind of about parenting is it's all a phase.
Mm-hmm.
Don't hang up on them being a fucking this, that and the other. And don't think that really lovely bit's going to last forever. It's all a phase.
Mm-hmm.
This is true for life, yeah.
Yeah. And to live in the moment, I guess, is similar too, right? It's just to try to be present.
Yeah, man.
With the good and the bad. Well, thank you so much for the chat. I know you're
Thank you very much.
busy.
I'm so sorry. I just kept going back and back.
No,
I'm not naughty. I've never had it like that before ever. I was like, Jesus Christ, we've got to move this thing again. But thank you very much for your time, and thank you for caring about it, and thank you for listening. Hopefully I'll see you on the road sometime.
Yes, definitely. And enjoy tonight's show and the other ones that you're doing.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Right.
Have a nice
Much
lunch
love.
now.
I'm going to get it. All
Go
right.
get
Lots
it
of
before
love.
it's gone. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Between tracks.